Students, families, counselors, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever it is in the world you are joining us. Thank you so much for joining the CTCL Virtual College Exploration Program. A few housekeeping notes before we begin with the Southwestern University presentation. First and foremost, you're encouraged to ask questions throughout this session via the Q&A button that you see on your screen. When you send in a question, it gets sent to all of our panelists, and they'll work to answer the question during the session and at the conclusion of the session as well. This session is being recorded, and the copy of the recording can be found at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. And we encourage you to check out the other CTCL programs that run through the next few days as well. And finally, your camera and your microphone are off, so if you have questions, just type them in through that Q&A. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleagues from Southwestern University.
Great, thanks so much, Zach. We appreciate your help. My name is Laura Doherty, and I'm the Associate Director of Admission at Southwestern University. Christine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Bowman, and I serve as the Dean of Enrollment Services at Southwestern. And tonight I'm going to be Laura's wingman. So in a minute, I'm going to shut off my camera, but I'm going to be your chat fan. And as Zach mentioned, I encourage you to throw questions out throughout the entire presentation. We may answer them as we go along, or some of them I may save towards the end so that Laura can provide insight as well, but we're very glad that you're here.
Yes, we're thrilled. This is awesome. Just a little bit about my background. I joined Southwestern University a little over a year ago, and before that, I was a college counselor in Chicago at 3 different Catholic high schools, and so some of my presentation might be a little different because I might sound similar to your high school counselors. So just so you know that from my perspective, but we are a small liberal arts college. I think you already know that. We have about 1,500 students. We are located about a half an hour outside of Austin, Texas. So we're in a beautiful town. It's called Georgetown, Texas. Just a lovely place to be, go to school, and live. So we're going to keep going with the presentation. We are very proud of our history at Southwestern. We are the first college in Texas. We were actually formed before the state of Texas, 1840, which is amazing. And because of this, we boast 3 of the first 5 Texas Rhodes Scholars. So what is a Rhodes Scholar? What does that even mean? It's a very prestigious award that you get to study in Oxford, England, after you graduate from college. So it's a really wonderful experience, and we're proud to be a part of it. Now, something for me coming from Chicago down to Texas was something I had to learn about, homecoming. But we are the first college to celebrate homecoming in 1909. There's another college not too far from us, and they claim they were the first. Ours was in the spring, theirs was in the fall. Ironically, we're going back to the spring again because of everything that's going on right now with the pandemic. So there's a lot of history that goes along with homecoming down here in Texas, and it's been fun to learn that over the course of this year. We are super proud that we are the first 100% renewable energy campus in Texas. There are some wind farms in West Texas, and some of you from around the country might be familiar with wind farms in other parts of the country, but these supply the energy on campus, and we're really proud of the fact that we are helping to reduce our carbon print on the earth. And we did such a great job of it that the city of Georgetown also adopted this program. So we're also influencing other people, which is amazing. So our curriculum were designed for the 21st century student. What does that mean? We're thinking forward. We want our students to be prepared for anything. And boy, did this pandemic throw anything at us. We didn't have any online classes when this whole thing happened. And over the course of spring break, and then we had a little extra break, our professors were amazing, and our students were even more amazing in being able to adapt and do this. And I think that just says a small part about how wonderful Southwestern is at being prepared and helping students be prepared for whatever is going to come their way. So we have a flexible curriculum. What does that mean? When you're in high school, you have a lot of requirements that you have to fulfill. You maybe have a 4-year plan that your counselor gives you, and it's kind of a grid and you need to check things off. It's a little different in college, especially at Southwestern, at a liberal arts school. You will have areas in which you need to fulfill requirements, but you have lots of choices within those areas. And so that's part of our flexible curriculum. You are going to be challenged intellectually. We know you're smart. We are going to push you within that intellectual area and see what you can do, which is so exciting. It's fun to see what students do throughout their time at Southwestern. From multiple perspectives, it is a give and take at Southwestern. You are not going to be sitting in a lecture hall listening to someone speak to you and then maybe filling out a Scantron card or filling out a small report to give as your assessment. There's going to be a lot of give and take. Your professors are going to be talking to you. They're going to be asking questions. You're going to be asking questions of your professors. You're going to be asking questions of the people in your classes. It's a very dynamic and exciting curriculum. And then we want you to think of ideas of your own. Maybe you've always wanted to have a research project on anthropology, or you've always wanted to write a play or direct a play or create a piece of art. Your professors are going to push you to do that at Southwestern, and they're going to encourage you, and they're also going to support you along the way. We have a quote here from our former president, Edward Berger. Some of you may know him from his TED Talks. My children actually knew him as their math tutor. So anyway, it just is a great summation of how we are at Southwestern, how we are with our students. So the student becomes the producer of original ideas rather than a passive consumer of ideas that have been created by others. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink here. So right now for your age group, they are saying that you could have 12 different jobs within your lifetime. With this whole pandemic, I'm wondering if this is going to change. I think every single day there's probably new jobs that are being formed coming out of this whole COVID-19. We want our students to be prepared for them and to be able to do whatever it is they want to do. What are your passions? What do you want? And maybe those passions change throughout your lifetime. Again, we want our students to have the skills to be able to do what they want within their lifetime. So some of these may include one or more career changes. I did not go to Southwestern University. I did go to another liberal arts school, and I'm an example of this. I started out in the insurance industry, and now I'm working in education. So that's an example of a career path change. And again, we want our students to be prepared for this. Many of our students are employed outside of their discipline. So a fine art student may end up going on to med school or law school, or a student who studies biology may end up going into business. So those are examples of ways that students are employed outside of their specific discipline. However, they're prepared to take on whatever it is outside of that discipline. So we think of our curriculum as a breakdown of 3 different areas. So the first part is your major. So the major is the area that you choose to study in. So whether that's English, kinesiology, biology, accounting, whatever, fine arts, music, whatever it is, that's going to be in depth. It's going to be rigorous. And again, you're going to be working with your professors and your fellow students to have an inquiry-based experience. So it's a very dynamic experience. And then, similar to high school, you're going to have those general education areas. So the fine arts, humanities, natural sciences, social sciences, language, we have a 3-semester requirement, social justice, and fitness. So within these areas, you're going to have lots of choices of classes, which is a little bit different than your high school experience. The fitness class, I'm going to go back to that. I work closely with our student ambassadors. A lot of them tell me that's their favorite class because they get to meet people from outside of their major. They might be bowling, they might be playing pickleball, yoga, weightlifting. So it's kind of fun to be able to meet people without outside of those disciplines. So I just want to touch on that for a second, because sometimes when we're giving this presentation in person, there are questions about that. And then we get to the electives. So this is how you're fulfilling the credits that you need in order to graduate, because there are a certain number of credits. But these are in areas that you just like. You've always wanted to study anthropology. You maybe are interested in feminist studies. These are the classes that you can take just for fun. So my favorite example of all of this was one of our students who actually graduated in 2020, and he did work in our office. And he, at the beginning of his first semester of his senior year, met with his advisor. And the advisor said to him, you know what, if you take one more class, because you've taken so many business classes, if you take one more, you are also going to have a business major on top of your math major. So of course, he went ahead and he took that extra business class. So he ended up being a double major in math and business. Then he took, for his fine arts requirement, he took a ceramics class. And again, he just did that because he thought it was going to be easy and he thought it was going to be fun and get it out of the way. Well, he ended up with a concentration in ceramics. So it's just a wonderful example of how our curriculum can kind of ebb and flow. And again, I think gives an example of the flexibility. Christine, any questions yet? Or can I keep going?
Not quite yet. Very excited to learn more.
All right. So beyond the classroom, we name this high impact learning experiences. And we feel very strongly that this is also a wonderful part of your curriculum and your time at Southwestern University. So 31% of our students do study abroad or away. Our students can go all over the world to study. Of course, right now that's a little complicated, but we're hoping, I do have some wood here, I can knock on wood, that soon we'll be back up and running with our students being able to travel wherever. We do have 3 programs that we run on our own. One is in New York City, one's in Washington, DC, and the other's in London. So what that means is a professor will take a cohort of students and they will take them there and they study together, which is really a neat experience. 50% of our students do serve in the community of Georgetown. We're very, very fortunate. The city of Georgetown and Southwestern University get along very, very well. Our students volunteer at the soup kitchens, within the nursing homes, at the pet shelter. Our daughter goes to a school right down the block from Southwestern. All of her coaches are Southwestern students. So it's a really neat and special relationship that doesn't happen everywhere. This is something I want to talk about from a personal aspect. I have visited many, many colleges in my time. And at Southwestern, 66% of our students complete at least one internship for academic credit. Not all colleges give academic credit for internships. And this is important when you're striving for graduation. So this is really, really unique to Southwestern. So when students complete an internship, they get to put it on their resume. Sometimes you get paid for it, but at Southwestern, you can also earn academic credit, which is really neat. And then 100% of our students do complete what's called a capstone or a similar project. I know in a lot of high schools, you call it a thesis or a portfolio. It's similar to that. However, this is just it's a combination of what you have studied, what you've majored in, and demonstrates what you've learned. Clearly, with everything that happened this past spring, we had to move this to a virtual format. And you can see these on our website, and they are beyond impressive. It's really fun and exciting to see what our students have accomplished. So all of this combined, these 4 areas, the high impact experiences, the electives, the general education, these all talk about your major. I'm going to play a video right now because we have another unique part of Southwestern University, and we call it Paideia.
Southwestern University's campus, and you'll undoubtedly hear the word Paideia, referring to our interdisciplinary approach to education. Paideia. If the term seems Greek to you, you're right. Paideia is a Greek word referring to the education of an ideal citizen, well-versed in the arts, the humanities, and the social and natural sciences, thereby creating an enlightened outlook, born of the ability to see things from multiple perspectives. Put simply, Paideia is all about making connections between your academic coursework, campus life experiences, and between your own life and the world around you. It starts in your first semester with a 4-credit graded course that introduces you to the intellectual practice of making connections. This first-year seminar is part of your general education requirements. Then, throughout your Southwestern experience, you'll be asked to make connections between courses within your chosen discipline or major. This experience will be self-directed. In other words, we don't tell you what those connections are or should be. They are yours to contemplate and discover on your own. It will seem strange at first, but over time, you'll begin to develop a new and invaluable intellectual practice, one that will allow you to think in broader, more collaborative ways. It's part of a larger integrated learning approach designed to help you see the relevance and relationships between courses and subject matter. You'll discover how they interrelate and learn to unify subjects rather than view them as separate and distinct academic courses. Paideia is now part of every class at Southwestern University, which means you'll also be asked to find connections across your entire curriculum, and often between two seemingly unrelated subjects. For example, you might be asked to find intentional connections between your art history and biology courses. Your ability to consider biology through the lens of art history and art history from your perspective as a biology student will open your mind and allow you to see both from a completely different and original perspective. Innovation and original thinking is often found at these crossroads. In this way, Southwestern students aren't simply the consumers of knowledge. They are the creators of new ideas, original thought, and creative expression. These are the skills of a 21st century thinker. Soon, you'll be making intentional connections throughout your electives and high-impact learning experiences, such as study abroad, community-engaged learning, and internships. Paideia connections are often the foundation of senior capstones and student-faculty research projects. Paideia is just one of the ways we help prepare you for a future that will be vastly different from previous generations, a future that puts a premium on the ability to adapt, collaborate, and develop solutions to complex problems and challenges. Paideia is the practice of thinking, and soon you'll be thinking about everything from a much broader perspective, creating new pathways to discover deeper connections, seeing things that others cannot see, and discovering insights that are yours alone.
And so, since I am still rather new to Southwestern, I can say to you that I asked many of the professors that I met in my time before we kind of fell apart in March, do you really make connections throughout the curriculum? And I was stunned and amazed at all the stories that they shared about connecting math with Spanish, connecting business with fitness even. So it was just really exciting for me to hear it firsthand. And I would love for you to be able to come to Southwestern for a campus visit and be able to hear about it for yourself. So again, think, create, and connect. All right, so now I don't know why I'm not giving up. Oh, there we go. So our student life, we feel, is also just as important as what you hear or what you learn inside the classroom. And so we've named it. It's called Mosaic. So you think of a beautiful piece of art that's put together by tiles or pieces of glass to make this wonderful art piece. And so we want our students to develop as a whole person. So think about the clubs that you join or the athletics that you are in or any of the activities that you get involved in. How do they help you develop as a person? And so we ask our students to reflect on these and really think about, how is this helping you reach your goals as a person, helping you reach your goals for your career, anything. And I have to say, one of my jobs at Southwestern is to supervise our ambassadors, our tour guides. And so I have them do this. I have them reflect on this piece. How is this helping you be a better person? How is this helping you make the meaning of your academic experience? So again, it's called Mosaic, and we're very proud of this piece. So this is our first year profile. Now, sophomores, second years. This is typical of a liberal arts school with the 55% female and 45% male. 14% of our students are from out of state or out of the country. 40% are underrepresented, and 13% are the first in their family to go to college. It's not letting me go forward again. Sorry about that. So we were test optional. We have been test optional. For any of you who maybe weren't able to take an SAT or an SAT test, you don't have to worry about that. If you were able to, these are our middle averages so that you can see that. Our application deadlines. So if you are absolutely in love with Southwestern University, we are your first choice and one and only, I call it one and done, early decision, then that deadline is November 1st. So what that means, it's basically like a contract. You think of it as a contract between you, your family, and Southwestern, saying that if I get accepted to Southwestern, then I am withdrawing all my other applications. So again, the final deadline for that is November 1st. If maybe you want the option to still get an earlier response, but you want to take some time to think about it, that deadline is December 1st, and that's called early action. So you can apply early, hear back, and then have until the May 1st deadline to make up your mind. And then our regular decision deadline is that February 1st deadline that you can see there. Applications, it doesn't matter to us. Whichever way is easiest for you is fine for us. So you can use the Apply Texas, you can use the Southwestern application, the Coalition application, the Common application. Again, whichever is best for you, we're happy to read. Along with this are several requirements, and this is normal for most colleges. So the official transcript. So your transcript is your grades throughout your high school career. So first year, second year, third year grades. A counselor recommendation along with the school report. Again, that's a normal part of an application. If you are going to supply your SATs or ACTs, you can just upload a PDF of that. You don't have to pay College Board or ACT to send those to us. We will take a picture of that. Again, if you are going to apply test optional, we do require an interview for that. So that's just a different policy. And then of course, and this goes along with every application, there's an essay. The essay should be fun. Think of this as fun. I'm going to put back on my counselor hat. We've taught you for so many years to write from your head. You read something, you regurgitate it, and then feed it back to the teacher. We want to get to know you. This should almost be like a journal entry. Let us get to know your heart. What are your passions? What do you love? And just share that with us. That essays are exciting to read. Some other materials, resume. The piece that asks you about your activities is rather short on these applications. I fill one out every year, and it doesn't give you a lot of room. So if you want to be able to expand upon your activities that you have pursued in high school, then please use the resume to help us get to know what else you have done. If you feel that a teacher or a coach or an employer might know you a little bit better than your counselor does, and you want to have them write a recommendation for you, that's awesome. We're happy to read that too. And then, as I stated a couple of times, personal interview. And we're happy to do that. And if you're applying test optional, that is a requirement. Christine, do we want to answer any questions or should I keep going?
I'm saving some great ones to the end. There's a number of questions that have been asked that I know you're going to continue to talk about. So I'll let you keep going.
I'll keep talking then. So the cost of attending. So this is the tuition and fees for this year's students. You can see that we have been recognized as a best value college, and we're very proud of that. This can be a bit of a sticker price, especially here in Texas, that I have found out. However, we're really proud of the fact when you look at the ranges of scholarships and that we are able to offer to our students, you can see that a large chunk fall between that $20,000 to quite $28,000, almost $1 off, which is amazing and can help to make Southwestern affordable for our students. You don't have to fill out an additional essay when you're applying for scholarships to Southwestern. We consider your application for admission as part of the scholarship process. This next slide, and all of this is available on our website, by the way, but these are for our competitive scholarships, and that deadline is December 1st. So that is a hard and fast deadline for us. And you can see that the Brown Scholar Award starts at $33,000 per year for our students who rank high in their class. The Dixon starts at $2,000, and the Gary, and then we also have some fine arts awards. And those are open to students majoring in vocal and instrumental, music, theater. So we're very, very fortunate to have scholarships that we are able to offer to our students, as well as the competitive merit scholarships. Need-based aid. So 98% of our students receive some sort of merit or need-based assistance. October 1st, wow, that's coming up awfully quick. November 1st is when the FAFSA opens up, the free application for federal student aid. That is when families can start filling out the form that tells you about receiving federal or state funds, as well as Southwestern University grants. In addition, that will also help you to know about work study. I can't emphasize enough, fill this out as quick as you can. The earlier you fill it out, the better your life is, as well as your applications. I should back up to that, your actual applications for admission. Everything that you can get done as soon as possible will make your senior year a lot better. Every college in the country, it's a federal law that you have to have an estimator on your website as far as what is an estimate of the cost of attendance. Again, we're really fortunate that Southwestern has been recognized as being one of the most accurate. So I would highly, if you haven't already used this net price calculator tool, please take advantage of that opportunity. We love our students, they're phenomenal, but we want them to graduate. We want them to graduate in 4 years. So 91% of our students do graduate in 4 years. And you can see that averages quite a bit higher than other private colleges and universities across the country. That extra cost of attendance for that 5th year, as well as possible loss of income, can be around $100,000. That's a lot of money. So again, we want our students to get out into the real world and be productive members of society. So our center, excuse me, our Center for Career and Professional Development, which the acronym is CCPD, it is not the police department. It's the Center for Career and Professional Development. We are very, very proud of the work that they do. They are amazing. They are ranked #1 in Texas and #3 in the country, which is astounding. So when you look at this rate of 90% are employed or in graduate or professional school within 10 months of graduation, this is hard to compare with other schools. Again, I've visited so many schools in my time, and this number is just staggering. It's something to be very, very proud of, and the reason that they have ranked so high. We are having programs throughout the fall and scope out Southwestern University, and of course, CCPD, or the Center for Career and Professional Development. They have a couple of these evenings, and I would encourage you to join them and hear what they have to say about the things that they do to help our students with internships and getting jobs and placements after they graduate. So the value of attending. We've been recognized nationally for how well we do, so in the rankings. And we also are high impact learning experiences outside of the classroom. Our students do phenomenal things. Again, our Center for Career and Professional Development, CCPD, outstanding, number 1, number 3. And finally, the skills that are going to last a lifetime. With everything changing in our world right now, I believe that our students are very well prepared to do whatever it is that they want in whatever's going to come our way with all of the changes that are happening in our world right now. So that is our, go back to the beginning. That is our presentation. Questions?
Absolutely. We've got some great ones that came in from the audience, Laura. Let's start with, what is a liberal arts college and why would I want to study there?
I was actually going to do this as a question in our poll, but it's kind of hard in this format, no offense. Liberal has nothing to do with politics. Arts has a little bit to do with arts. Liberal arts means you literally learn a little bit about everything. So that's where it goes back to that third, a third, a third, a third. So you're going to study within your major, you're going to study within the requirements, and then you're going to have the electives that you get to choose from. And so we want our students to know a little bit about everything by the time they graduate. And that's the definition of the liberal arts education.
Great. The next question is, and you alluded to it just a little bit a second ago, are we open for campus tours? What are our options available on the weekends? And then what is the Scope Out Southwestern that you've mentioned?
So we are open for tours. We're very proud of this. We have 3 times per day during the week, and then 2 times on certain Saturdays throughout the fall. The Scope Out Southwesterns are on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings from 7 until 8 o'clock. You can check those out on our website. We have a variety of topics, and we're very excited to highlight the many aspects on our campus. So please, please check out our website, call our office, and we're able to get you set up for a visit and connect you with some of our, the people on our campus. We also have virtual meetings with our professors. So if you want to meet with a professor from a certain area, again, please call our office and we'll be able to set that up for you.
I would also add the website to visit all of our virtual programming. It's super simple, southwestern.edu/visit. And so you can see both our on-campus and our virtual programming all in one space and decide what is right for you. All right, Laura, next question. Would you address on-campus residency requirements?
Oh, for sure. We are a residential campus. So there is the 2-year requirement to live on campus. Most of our students actually end up living on campus for 4 years. They enjoy it so much. Actually, Christine is an alum. She might want to talk about this a little more. But several of our student workers have told me about how much they love living on campus. And since we are a residential community, it's just a really nice experience.
Next question is, would you talk a little bit about campus safety and what it is like to be in the Georgetown area and all that element?
Again, Georgetown is a smaller city, which is nice. And we have a great area. We have a wonderful town square. I call it a Hallmark town square. It's just so cute with all the stores and ice cream shop and restaurants and everything. But we do have our own police department that is run by Southwestern, and they are phenomenal, and they become friends with the students. And they truly care about our students and make it a wonderful experience for them. So it's a very safe place to be. It's just wonderful. Yeah.
I know you have some experience in at least hearing about this with your work with our ambassadors and our SHARP students, but would you describe a typical day of a Southwestern student?
Typical day is going to be class. They're going to go to class. There is going to be work outside of class as far as pertaining to their schoolwork, but they do also work on campus, which I alluded to on the financial aid page, and I probably should have expounded on that a little bit more, but there are jobs all over campus. So students work in the library, they can work for professors, they can work in our recreation center, the Robertson Center, and then they can also work in our office. But there are many jobs on campus. They're fun, they get to meet other students, they get to meet fun people like us, Christine and me. But it's just a way that you make money and also have a professional experience. You're learning, but also engaging with people outside of your major.
So here's a really fun one. Can you give an example of a Paideia connection, and how is one expected to have a Paideia connection academically?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm going to plug Wednesday night's session, because we're going to talk about Paideia and the students are going to talk about it. But we have a piece of art hanging in our office that was actually a math project, and it turned into an art project. So that to me is one of my favorite ones that I have heard. But I would really like for students to tune in on Wednesday night, because our director of Paideia is going to be presenting along with students, and they have some phenomenal examples of things that have happened on our campus.
I think my favorite Paideia example is a young woman who was on the women's soccer team, and she was also taking calculus from our former president, Dr. Berger. And she had been so intensely studying for her calculus test before she went to practice that day she was dribbling the ball in between cones back and forth, and all she could see was curvatures that they had been talking about in calculus that day. And she went and teased the professor later, athletics is supposed to be the time I don't think about school, and now you're making me think about school on the athletic pitch. And so that's really the great aspect about Paideia, is it allows you to see things broadly, even in places you don't expect.
That's awesome. I hadn't heard that one before. I love it.
Oh, it's one of my faves. What are the dining choices at Southwestern? Gluten-free, healthy options? What are their hours?
Oh my goodness. I can't give our dining service more credit, especially right now. They are amazing. Yes, you can specialty order through them, anything you need, lactose intolerant, gluten, anything, they are willing to adjust, and they have options, and the options are pretty darn good. So yeah, they do a great job. And especially right now in this time of COVID, they are having to specialty order. It's been quite the process for our students. They have to order ahead, and it's outstanding. Things are ready. It's been a very smooth process. You cannot give them enough credit.
We had a question that said, for competitive merit scholarships, what's the average range of ACT or SAT scores for students that are awarded the scholarship? I think probably the best answer to give for this one, and I'm sorry if I'll jump in on this one, Laura.
I will let you.
Is that this year we've removed the testing component from the competitive merit awards. We are continuing to require, as we always have, an interview for the advance from round 1 to round 2. But we don't want any student to be put into a position where they might qualify for those competitive awards but can't give a test, and so therefore might not be able to advance. So if you're in the class of 2021 and you are in the top 5% of your class and you fulfill an interview with us, you will automatically be considered for the Brown Scholarship. If you're in the top 10% of your class, you will automatically be considered for the Dixon and or the Gary Scholarships. Now, please know, competitive does mean competitive, and we're going to have to narrow that group down, but there is not a testing component for you to worry about if you are in the class of 2021. All right, Miss Laura, We talked about, did we talk about a typical first day for the, or a typical day for the student? I think we did.
We did. They also have fun. I forgot to add the fun part. We do have fraternity sororities. We have plenty of clubs available. My gosh, our students are so active in so many different things. It amazes me. So yes, clubs, sports, intramurals, they're involved in so many different things. It's great.
Oh, here's a fun one. How strong is your alumni association? And can you talk about networking opportunities?
Well, I think our Center for Career and Professional Development speaks alone for our networking opportunities within our alums. I was privileged enough to be on an interviewing committee just recently for one of the hires for our CCPD department, and I was astounded at the number of alumni connections that we have at Southwestern. I already knew them, but just hearing it again through that experience for me. So it's a strong network. They look out for each other. They want to help each other. It's impressive. Internships, they're always holding internships specifically for Southwestern students. It's very impressive. And we're very fortunate. We're very fortunate where we're located. You know, half an hour from Austin, the distance between Houston and Dallas, you know, about 3 hours each. That's pretty impressive to be within that close of a range of 3 major metropolitan areas to help our students.
Here's a good one. Do students typically come in with a declared major? Do they enter undecided? And is one or the other recommended?
Well, I'm going to answer this from some of the work that I did with helping our students adjust to Southwestern during our orientation period. Many of our students change majors, which is just fine. I wish we, every college, actually, I wish we had a major called deciding, which is great. But that's one of the benefits of a liberal arts school is you have the opportunities to easily change majors, and it works out just fine. And that's why our 91% graduation rate works, is they're able to change majors and still graduate on time.
All right. For the financial aid section, you said that only the FAFSA is required, no CSS profile. Does that mean that international students are not eligible to receive need-based financial aid?
Christine, can you answer that better than me? Because I'm not as familiar with that process, to be honest with you.
Unfortunately, the federal government limits our ability to provide any of our federal funds to international students, so we definitely have that limitation. If you are a DACA student who has been raised in Texas and have the ability to complete our internal form, the TAFSA, then that certainly is an opportunity for us to continue looking. For our true international students that are joining us from outside of the United States, we have very limited financial resources available for students. You are eligible for all of our merit scholarship programs, so that is important. But I would encourage you to visit our website, find Meet Your Counselor, and look for the name Bob Baldwin, and he will be happy to answer any further questions in regard to that. I see that our colleagues from STRIVE-SCAN have hopped on, which means our time is very quickly coming to an end. I know there are some questions that we didn't get to answer today. We will get that list from STRIVE-SCAN in a couple of days, and I will be happy to follow up with you by the weekend to be able to answer any remaining questions that we didn't answer. Laura, if you want to close it out from here.
Just thank you so much. We're so happy you were here. I hope you visit us on campus. Please do. And again, we have some more virtual programs coming your way, but being on campus is the best thing. Just to see our students, see our professors, see the way that Southwestern works. It's pretty amazing. Have a great evening.
Well, thank you so much, Laura and Christine, for sharing this information. Students and counselors, thanks for tuning in. As you close this window, a very quick 4-question survey will appear. We ask for your feedback. We encourage you to sign up for additional CTCL presentations at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. And the recording of this session and all of the CTCL sessions will be made available very soon at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.